Happy halfway to Halloween. Halloween horror movies are everywhere, but most people are only watching the same handful every year. That means there's a whole side of Halloween horror that never gets talked about. The weird ones, the underrated ones, the ones you randomly find on streaming services and think, how have I never heard of this? So today we're picking up from our last halfway to Halloween special and doing a part 2 of underrated Halloween hidden gems. So make sure to check out last week's episode if you missed it. But today we're going from creepy modern slashers to Halloween anthologies and low-key cult favorites. And I'm going to be ranking some short films too. And trust me, one of these anthologies has a segment that sticks with you way longer than it should. So if you think you've already seen all the good Halloween horror movies, you probably haven't. Let's get into it. Our first movie is The Jester from 2023. This is an interesting way to start a Halloween hidden gem list. The Jester is a newer indie Halloween movie that feels like it was built on discomfort and weirdness. And sprinkle in a little bit of atmosphere, of course. The story follows a mysterious supernatural figure known as the Jester, who appears on Halloween night and begins targeting people across a small town. What starts as a strange, unexplained encounters quickly escalates into a night of escalating terror, as no one can figure out where he's coming from or what he actually is. This movie works because it fully commits to that Halloween night dread. Costumes everywhere, dark suburban streets, foggy lighting, and that constant feeling that something is watching from just off the screen. It's simple, but the tension and mood carry it hard. Now, the Jester might just be a version of Art the Clown from Temu, but I still have some fun with it. Fun fact, the entire film is set on Halloween night in a suburban neighborhood, which really helps it lean into that something evil hiding in plain sight idea. The Jester himself has become a recognizable modern indie horror figure because of his unsettling design and silent, unpredictable presence, again, just like Art the Clown. You can stream The Jester on platforms like Tubi. Our second movie is The Barn Part 2 from 2022. Alright, this is a perfect follow-up to our Halloween horror movies hidden gem list. This movie takes the original idea and expands it into something even more chaotic and fun. It's bigger, it's weirder, and it's more creature heavy. And not to mention very creative. I love the direction this one went. The story continues in the same universe as the first film, following new characters who get pulled into the aftermath of the Halloween events tied to the barn. As Halloween night returns, so do the monsters, unleashing another wave of chaos across the town. It becomes a full-on survival situation as people try to make it through the night while everything spirals out of control. If you're into retro vibe Halloween movies, then this one doubles down on the amazing work it did in the first film. Practical monsters, small town panic, and that 80s inspired slasher energy. It feels like a love letter to old school creature features and slasher movies, all mixed in with the beautiful atmosphere and Halloween nostalgia. And I love the vibe the Barn movies have. They get that cozy feeling, that nice fall Halloween atmosphere that just is perfect for when you're missing the season or even just watching it on Halloween night itself. Also a perfect double feature watching the original Barn and Barn Part 2 back to back. I mean, they go hand in hand. Might be a perfect summerween idea. Fun fact, the film continues the small town Ohio Halloween setting, keeping that Midwest October atmosphere front and center. It also leans heavily into practical effects and monster designs, giving it that gritty, handmade horror feel instead of the polished modern CGI. You can stream The Barn Part 2 on Tubi for free. Our third movie is Hellions from 2015. Alright, this is where it starts getting a little more surreal and weird. Hellions is not your typical slasher. It's more of a psychological, almost dreamlike horror Halloween feel. And it feels completely unhinged, but in the best way possible. The story follows a teenage girl who finds herself home alone on Halloween night when strange masked trick-or-treaters begin appearing at her door. At first, it seems like a prank or neighborhood kids messing around, but things quickly spiral into something far more disturbing, and reality starts to break down around her. This movie stands out because it feels like a Halloween nightmare that you can't fully understand while you're in the reality of it. It's unsettling, colorful, chaotic, and it really plays with that feeling of being trapped in a distorted version of Halloween night where nothing makes sense anymore. The film randomly about halfway through, it's not the whole film, it's about halfway through, it gets this really creative choice to do like a pink hue on the whole entire film. Like the sky is pink, it feels like you just transformed into an alternate reality, and kind of what the story does. It does match the kind of story that's going on. It's all bizarre, but it kind of feels like you put in pink glasses with like the shades were pink, and the whole screen is just like pink. I don't know, it's so interesting but kind of creepy. But it adds to the horror though, because it's like a psychological type of vibe where you're like, what is going on? I also love the vibe. They nail the Halloween night atmosphere, which I mean, I love it. I love the Halloween vibe. Fun fact, the film takes place on Halloween night in a suburban home setting, but it constantly shifts tone and reality, making it feel almost like a fever dream. The masked trick-or-treaters are especially creepy because they blur the line between kids, monsters, and something else entirely. You can find Hellions on Pluto TV for free. Our fourth movie is 1031 Part 3. Alright, this one brings us back to the anthology type of vibe for our Halloween Horror Night watch. And honestly, it's a perfect fit for a Halloween hidden gem list. It continues the type of 1031 anthology vibe of a bunch of different Halloween nightmares all happening on this chaotic Halloween night. And I chose this one because it's probably the second best out of all 4 of their movies. I watched them all, besides the first one. The first one's the best, but I think Part 3 is better than Part 2 and 4. And in this one, you kind of get this interesting thing where it's an anthology within an anthology, because the intro for about 5 to 10 minutes is like a bunch of 1 minute short stories, and it's kind of like in advertising commercial type of form before we get to the host, who the same host throughout the 4 movies. She's back, and she kind of talks us through what's going on. So it is interesting, but I was confused when I first saw it, and all these like different 1 minute segments were happening. I was like, what's going on? But then it got into the real segments. So it's an interesting movie. It's got the Halloween vibe. I think it's a good time. The film is made up of several short horror segments, all taking place on Halloween night. Each story follows different characters dealing with their own separate horrors, from killers to supernatural events, but they all share the same chaotic Halloween setting where nothing feels safe. This one works again because you're getting a new idea every few minutes. It's keeping you so engaged, and it's so entertaining, especially when watching with family or friends. One segment might be grounded in slasher horror, the next might go fully supernatural or surreal. It keeps that Halloween night unpredictability alive the whole time. It's like you're flipping channels through random different nightmares on Halloween night. And honestly, I think 3 out of the 4 stories are actually pretty good and entertaining, and one is just meh. And also you have, again, that intro we were talking about where it's kind of like an anthology within an anthology, which is trippy, but it's also pretty cool. Now, again, as I've been doing with these anthologies, I'm going to rank from my least favorite to my favorite. And there's 4 stories in this movie. My least favorite is The Locksmith. It's about a couple who move into a new home only to discover they are not alone and face a terrifying threat. The next one is Hack in the Box. The story focuses on an evil, demonic Jack-in-the-Box object. Now, this one's super fun because it's like these kids, the acting was pretty good. They seem so terrified of what's in this Jack-in-the-Box that makes it super scary. And they're trying to destroy it. You know, they got guns and they're just trying to blow this thing up. And it's pretty terrifying, and this is the shortest little segment in this movie. The next one is Old Man Gross. A couple of young adults decide to break into the home of a creepy neighbor, discovering dark secrets in his basement. Now, this one's interesting because it's kind of funny because these are grown people who are trick-or-treating, and they decide to go prank this old man. And it's just so random. It's like, it's so absurd and it's so over the top. That's pretty fun. You know, we got some characters in here who, you know, you're not really rooting for. They're kind of like, okay, this guy's a jerk, but it's so fun because it just really is like that slasher formula where you got the jerk, you got these over-the-top characters, and it's just a fun time. Now, my favorite one is House of the Mummy. It's about a recently divorced man who attempts to turn his new home into a haunted attraction, but the mummy prop he purchases from a local shop is more than it seems. Now, this one's super fun. You know, we have a mummy story in here, which is kind of rare. I feel like there's not a lot of mummy stories, so to have this thrown in this anthology, it's a super fun time. And I just thought the vibe was fun. I thought the characters were fun, a little over the top, of course, kind of a theme in this indie type of anthology film. But I definitely love this one. It's my favorite by far. Like, there's a gap between 1 and 2. But 2 and 3 are alright. The 4th one is meh, but I definitely like the mummy one. Fun fact, the anthology format really leans into variety, and every segment is tied back to Halloween night settings like parties, suburban homes, and isolated streets, which keeps the theme consistent even when the story shifts tone completely. You can stream 1031 Part 3 on Tubi for free. Our 5th movie is Grow Up Tony Phillips from 2013. Alright, this one is a different type of Halloween pick, but that's exactly why it works for a hidden gem list. Grow Up Tony Phillips is more of a character-driven indie film, and it's not horror, really more of a comedy coming of age type of film, but it still has that Halloween atmosphere throughout the whole entire movie. The story follows Tony Phillips, a high school senior who is obsessed with Halloween and refuses to grow up like everyone expects him to. As he deals with the pressure from his friends, family, and school, Halloween becomes his emotional escape for him, blending trick-or-treat nostalgia with coming-of-age struggles and identity issues. This movie hits different because it isn't about scares, it's about Halloween as a theme, as an idea, as an emotion. The decorations, costumes, parties, and suburban setting all give it that cozy October vibe, but underneath it there's also a deeper story about growing up and holding on to what you love. And also you have so many moments with the cop in here who's just so funny and unhinged. Like, he's just so random. He'll come in and just say something out of pocket, just insane, and he's just a funny character in here, always keeping that vibe funny. You know, again, we have that comedy type of vibe in here as well. And, you know, I kind of feel like I connect to Tony Phillips, you know, because, I mean, we're out here, we got the Halloween decorations up, you know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of a fun story to put yourself in. I'm sure all you guys probably, when you watch this film, are going to feel for Tony Phillips and be like, he don't have to grow up. He can keep watching this Halloween all he wants, because Tony Phillips is that guy. Fun fact, the film is set in a suburban American town during Halloween season, and it really captures that mix of high school life and Halloween obsession. It's more grounded than the other films on this list, but that contrast actually makes it stand out. You can find Grow Up Tony Phillips on Amazon. Alright, there are 5 more Halloween hidden gems that you need to check out, but if I had to pick just one to recommend from this list, it's going to be The Barn Part 2 from 2022. Even though it's not quite as strong as the first one, it's still such a fun time. I love how it connects directly to the original with returning characters. It really feels like a true continuation instead of just a random sequel. And honestly, like I said earlier, it works perfectly as a double feature with the first film. You watch one, then roll right into this one, and you're just locked into that same Halloween night vibe the whole time. The atmosphere is still there, the Halloween energy is still there, and it just feels like a really fun extension of everything that the first movie built. I also want to get the second The Barn poster somewhere in my background. I think it'd be so fun. I really enjoy that movie too. I think there's a third one coming out I'm so excited for. I think it might actually be coming out this year. So guys, I'm telling you, watch these 2 and get ready for this third movie. If you're watching movies in October, I mean, this is the perfect one to throw on after you watch the first Barn and just enjoy the ride. Or just throw this on during Summerween coming up here soon, and just when you're missing the Halloween season, brings you back. If you've seen any of these, let me know down in the comments below. And also, please drop any I missed, because again, just like I said the last video, I'm creating the biggest Halloween video of a bunch of movies I can find. Every single Halloween movie I can find, whether it's comedy, horror, it could be drama, whatever it is, anything to take place with Halloween, I'm trying to watch them all, organize them on a nice list, and release that this October. I think that'd be such a fun time. But again, there's some movies that even if I do Google research, I still can't find all the movies. So if you know any, drop them down below and maybe it'll be on the list. Please drop a like and hit that subscribe button, or you and your friends will accidentally summon the monsters from the barn. Thank y'all so much for watching. Have a blessed day, and peace.